New threat to recovery? A strong dollar. Ben Bernanke and Tim Geithner keep saying that they support a strong dollar. Now that we have it, at least for the moment, they should eat their words. The dollar has surged to a 8-month high against the euro and is also rising against other major currencies. If it keeps strengthening, that could damage the already fragile U.S. economic recovery. Gains in the U.S. currency will hurt exports, which are big contributors to the U.S. economy right now. American companies will find it more expensive to sell goods and services abroad, and imports here will be cheaper. Good for consumers, but bad for businesses. President Barack Obama, in his State of the Union address in late January, set out a goal of doubling exports over the next 5 years, which he said would create 2 million jobs. So a strong dollar would wreck that plan. Every 1% increase in the dollar, averaged against other major currencies, knocks U.S. exports down by about $20 billion annually and destroys some 150,000 jobs, according to the Peterson Institute for International Economics, a Washington-based nonpartisan research group. Americans are spent out, unemployed, and can't use their homes as ATMs anymore, said David Gilmore, a partner at Foreign Exchange Analytics. We need foreigners to pick up the slack, but a strong dollar certainly won't help that. All this may sound somewhat illogical. Usually, stronger means better, right? At times, that's true, but not now, they say. Today, it takes $1.37 to buy 1 euro. 3 months ago, it took $1.51 to buy 1 euro. That means the dollar will now go 10% further than in November if you were exchanging the two currencies. If you're planning a trip to Europe, then this is good news because you'll get more for your money. It's also a boon to U.S. consumers who can buy foreign goods for less. Investors like when the dollar is strong because it tends to bolster dollar-denominated assets like U.S. stocks and bonds. The flip side is that foreigners will have to spend 10% more to purchase U.S. goods. For example, an American automaker who wants to sell a $20,000 car abroad would charge 14,598 euros at today's rates compared with 13,245 euros in November. That's why a weak dollar, not a stronger one, would be better for U.S. exporters, but not necessarily consumers. So in other words, there's something wrong with the economies of the world. American companies could charge less when the local competition in foreign markets, and imports to the United States would be more expensive, which would make U.S.-made goods more competitive at home. Instead, we have U.S. goods costing more abroad and imports costing less here, which means American companies have to discount everywhere in order to compete. And yet, top U.S. officials still support a stronger dollar. When the world was most at risk and most scared, people were still putting their resources in dollars and treasuries. And we want to preserve that, Treasury Secretary Geithner said during a Senate Finance Committee hearing on February 2nd. Federal Reserve Chairman Bernanke also has voiced his support for a strong dollar in recent months. So they've gotten what they wanted, at least for the moment, because volatility is still the key word in the economies of the world. A rebounding U.S. economy, which rose 5.7% in the fourth quarter somewhat due to the stimulus package, has helped ignite a dollar rally. A bigger force behind the dollar's rise has been economic woes in other parts of the world, namely Europe. Worries that Greece could default on its debt, and other countries, including Spain and Portugal, could also be vulnerable to collapse, has knocked down the euro to its weakest level since last May. But again, in the world's economic climate nowadays, anything could happen. Things can change rapidly. Investors don't want to hold currencies in markets where there could be financial turmoil. So the dollar has long been considered the market's favored safe haven currency. The US dollar index, which tracks the greenback against a trade-weighted basket of currencies, has risen approximately 7.5% since November. The trouble with the dollar's gains is that it puts a major driver of U.S. economic growth at risk. The United States sells some $1.5 trillion worth of goods and services annually to the rest of the world, according to the Peterson Institute. Of the 5.7% growth rate in the overall U.S. economy in the fourth quarter, exports added 1.9 percentage points. We are a country that is now counting on export growth to lead us, said the chief U.S. economist at the consulting firm Global Insight. A rising dollar also hurts businesses reliant on foreign markets. Standard & Poor's 500 companies derive on average about half their sales from abroad. It's not just the higher prices for their goods that affects companies with foreign operations, but they also stand to make less when they convert what they've earned abroad back into dollars and bring their profits home. But again, these times are different from many other times. And these times will never be like this again. There's something much more going on here, something much bigger. There are fundamental problems with the economy of the United States, and in fact, for that matter, with the economies of the whole world. Everything that must change for the better, and rapidly or quickly. And again, these are more signs of the end times, transition days. The transition is real. It's happening day by day. It is a process, and there are many signs.